duel between friends is always a hard thing to watch, and not since Luffy vs. Usopp have I seen a battle so emotional in the One Piece anime series. And that's because in this week's episode of One Piece, we finally get the epic duel between Luffy and Sanji Vinsmoke. This is an episode that One Piece manga fans and anime fans have been waiting for, salivating for. They cannot contain their excitement for what is going to be one of the biggest emotional heights of the entire Whole Cake Island arc. And this is a momentous occasion. This is a 1-hour One Piece anime special, which is really just episodes 807 and 808 stitched together. And they're a really great showcase for why the One Piece characters are so enduring and why we still care about them all these years later. Also, before I go any further into my review, let me just go ahead and put up a spoiler warning. You've been warned, I'm going to be talking about some of the manga elements, and that's because on top of the fact that we got double episodes this week, we also got a brand new intro, which is pretty freaking solid. I absolutely love it. It's a song called Hope by an artist named Nami Amuro, and I think it's been a long time coming that we got a brand new intro, and I love all of the imagery that's accompanied with it, but I love the song. It really took a long time for me to really get adjusted to it and start to understand what sort of message that it was trying to convey. But that combined with the imagery, it just started to click after watching it like on my 5th viewing. I love how throughout the entire intro, there's all of these like classic shots of the Straw Hat Pirates hanging out together and Sanji constantly sort of being separated from all of them. And throughout the entire thing, it's building up to that battle between Luffy and Sanji, and you can just feel that he's just desperate to escape to be with his friends again, yet there seems to be no hope. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that's where the lyrics of the song come in, and the fact that the name of the song is Hope, it just makes you feel good, it's triumphant, it's awesome, and it pumps you up for the next arc with the introduction of all types of new characters. There are some amazing moments from this intro, like Jinbei who's fighting against one of the sons of Big Mom, just this really big punch that he delivers that's really satisfying. I love that stuff. My favorite thing, though, was getting to see a daughter and son of Big Mom that are going to be very important in this arc. One of them is named Smoothie, and the other one is named Katakuri. And this guy is freaking crazy. And finally getting to see him in anime form is awesome. I love how they keep him kind of shadowy, but his eyes are glowing, yet you can still make out exactly who he is. In fact, throughout the entire intro, there's a lot of characters, most of them being villains in like the actual family of Big Mom, that they keep very shadowy. And I have a theory that as it's going to go on and those characters are introduced, they're going to start highlighting them and you'll actually get better visuals of them in the intro. That and just there's also just a lot of other great, super iconic shots that make this a really fantastic intro and something that I think One Piece fans are definitely going to love. There's going to be a lot of freeze frames here that are going to be really classic, like Luffy jumping after Big Mom and getting ready to fight against Prometheus and Zeus the Giant Cloud and Sun, or we have Pedro fighting against freaking Baron Tamago. All of that stuff is really great. And then, of course, there's Sanji, who's with Pudding, and they're actually in their wedding attire. It's just a classic, awesome intro that I think is going to add a lot to this arc, and frankly, it sort of reinvigorated my love of the One Piece anime series, because let's face it, it's been kind of rough lately in terms of the production value and the fact that, frankly, it is just taking its time too much. It's a very slow anime series. I know that it's close to the manga, but man, I really wish they would have done a filler arc before this one that lasted just a little bit longer. They could have built that up so much more so that we could get much better quality, but the good news is, at least in these episodes right here, we get some great stuff. Episode 807 is mostly flashbacks, but it's there to serve a purpose to remind the viewers who Sanji is, where he came from, and where he is now. It's a great episode for people who have not watched the series in a while, or for those who forgot a lot of that old stuff from the past, which is kind of a shame, and you know, I'm a hardcore fan and I retain a lot of that. But yeah, there are times even when I forget like some of like the major elements, and there are times when those flashbacks actually do work, but like the biggest part of episode 807 is the scene where Nami and Luffy find Sanji. They run right up to him. Luffy jumps onto his carriage, which is making their way to Big Mom's castle, and Luffy just gets kicked right in the face by Sanji, skidding across the grass. That's like the biggest scene of that episode. That, and there's also another great scene where Brûlé the Witch is still hunting Chopper and Carrot in the mirror world, and she brings some of her buddies in to actually help her find them, and that's all they do with that. Really, the entire episode is there just to remind you about Sanji. The second episode is when we finally get the duel between Luffy and Sanji, and it's awesome. And it's not really a fight between the two characters. It's really Luffy just sort of standing his ground and telling Sanji that he's not leaving, he's not running away, he's going to bring him back. That's what he's going to do. He won't accept the fact that Sanji is saying that he's a part of the Germa family. He's staying with them because they're rich and they're powerful. Basically, Sanji is putting on a front as he continuously beats on Luffy with a flurry of incredibly painful-looking kicks. He does not waste any time, and a lot of the animation during these scenes are incredibly hard-hitting, and there's a lot of attention to detail that I really love. One, just the momentum and force of his kicks, you can almost feel them as you're watching the episode. Like it's just exploding off of the screen and slamming right into your chest. There's also a great moment where he kicks Luffy directly in the face, and for an absolute split second in the frame of the animation, you can see Luffy's skull actually start to crack before he starts to fly off from the force of the kick. It's awesome. It's such a great moment. And the rest of the episode is just Luffy standing his ground, getting pummeled, not fighting back, and the whole time you're holding back your tears because Nami is just screaming at Sanji, telling him to stop and stop escalating this even further. He even goes as far as using a technique where he flies up into the sky and comes down like a freaking meteor man, slamming right into Luffy's head with a super massive attack, which is so powerful, it temporarily knocks out Luffy. There are no words after this scene. Sanji just walks away, doesn't even look at his friends or even acknowledges them. The image of Luffy knocked out on the ground with blood coming from his face, his eyes just completely rolled into the back of his head, is a really disturbing image. And that, combined with a lot of the other cool imagery of this episode, definitely makes this one of the most iconic episodes of One Piece and one of the most iconic episodes of the entire Whole Cake Island arc, period. It's such a great moment, and I was convinced they were going to end the episode there, but no, they gave us just a little bit more just to try and make the viewer cry as much as humanly possible. First, the battle itself was really cool, but man, it just hurts your heart the entire time, and even with all of the violent attacks, I think the scene where Nami just casually walks up to Sanji and slaps him across the face just hurts so bad, because you can tell that Nami is really upset, but you can only imagine how much that crushes Sanji's entire world. For him having to put on this hard front and basically be slapped by the woman that he is completely obsessed and in love with. Speaking of which, all of his brothers have the same reaction that Sanji does every time they see Nami. They're all completely just enamored by her rockin' bod. And frankly, who the hell can blame them? I mean, come on, Nami's a friggin' fox. But still, that scene, man, just, it hurts so much right here. And then they just start to go away on the carriage. But then Luffy just stands up, and he makes this declaration that he's not going to eat anything, he's going to starve to death, sit in the rain and the storm and the snow and the sleet, until Sanji decides to finally come back. And the one that hurt the most is when Luffy actually told him that he can't become the Pirate King without him. This scene was just crushing me. Like, I was holding back the man tears like you could not believe. And it was really hard to watch Sanji actually just sit there and break down and cry while all of his brothers are just sitting there laughing at him the entire time. It's just terrible. Now, that could have been the end of the episode too. And I'm usually not a big fan of, like, a lot of big flashbacks, but I loved that little montage sequence we got at the very end of the episode, where we got to see the return of a classic piece of music. During this entire montage, which mostly focuses on scenes of Sanji, but mostly just the Straw Hat crew and all the crazy adventures they're going on, we actually hear the original ending theme from the anime series, back when it actually used to have actual ending themes. It's Maki Otsuki's freaking memories. Yes, the original ending, which for me is also really nostalgic too, because that was like when we had the core group of the Straw Hat Pirates, the Big Five as I called them, which was of course Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji. And they were a part of that classic ending where they're all appearing with their backs to the viewer, slowly appearing as Luffy's comrades, and them playing that song over this montage. Guys, it just sent a shiver down my spine. It reminded me of why I'm such a big One Piece fan and why I love this anime series. It certainly has its ups and its downs, but what really makes it a great series at the end of the day are its amazing characters, their epically awesome quirks, and just watching the adventure and growth that they've gone through the entire freaking thing. This episode totally reminded me of that, and I'm just reinvigorated. I can't wait to see more of the Whole Cake Island arc, and I did love both of these episodes. I did have a few issues with 807 mostly being flashbacks, but I'm willing to forgive it because it was a part of a 1-hour special, so you're definitely going to at least get some great imagery, and watching Sanji just wail on Luffy is hard to watch, but also just freaking awesome at the same time. So it's a solid package right here. You gotta check it out. There's plenty of means to do it. I recommend Crunchyroll. It's free, and it's pretty awesome, so check it out, guys. As for the score, 807 is like a 3 out of 5 for me. It's just a fun average episode with a lot of cool flashbacks and that great moment, which is Sanji kicking Luffy in the face, but 808 is really what sells. For me, that episode's a 5 out of 5. It was handled so well, and all of just the extreme nostalgia was just injected directly into my veins. If I only had one complaint, and maybe it just has something to do with the players that I was watching on Crunchyroll, or maybe it's just a weird new decision by the animation team, they show the midway title cards more than once now, like upwards of 4 to 5 times in the episode, and I don't really see what the point of that freaking was. Maybe it was just something they accidentally did for this episode. If I see it again in the next one, it's a bad decision. Don't do it. That's really it. So there it is. That's my thoughts on the episode. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. Make sure to tell me what you liked or did not like about these episodes. Were you hit emotionally by the battle between Luffy and Sanji? Did you have any favorite moments from this episode? And make sure to tell me what you want to see from the rest of the Whole Cake Island arc. And also tell me your thoughts about the brand new intro. Do you like the song, the imagery? Are there any favorite moments from it? Do you not like it? Tell me in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things One Piece, anime, and manga related. Make sure to like this video if you like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. So, as always, stay down, baby.